So welcome everybody. I'd like to start off today's call with maybe a little review of what was last time. Last time, as you know, was the worst number in business, or what is the worst number in business. And we discovered it was obviously the number one. And although, as we know, what have got you here was wearing all three of those hats, we see that it obviously won't get you to where you want to go. So the mission, if you accepted, was just a little brief write-up of the vision of your company. And I realized, like asking people what their purpose in life is, that somehow it might be a little bit too daunting. So what is the ultimate vision for your business might be too great. So we did chop it down a little bit to 3 months. And I find that when I'm working with clients, that a 3-month or 90-day plan seems to be a fair amount of time to test something out and see if it actually works. So obviously writing down maybe a 90-day plan or 3-month plan for your business would probably have been better in order. But it's not too late. If you didn't do it, I would still say that writing it down brings it into the universe so that we can take action on it and see it. Doesn't mean we don't course correct, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be down so we all know what we're focusing on. Moving forward, obviously, if today is about being too busy to mopping up the floor to fix the hole in the roof, then the idea here is, what exactly are we talking about? Well, first and foremost, being too busy to fix the or to mop the floor to fix the hole in the roof is really about not focusing on those impact areas in your business that will grow it, and getting caught up in the day-to-day and doing the things that are urgent and not important. So ultimately, one of the things that I do when I'm giving talks to small business owners, and something that landed pretty heavy in this community when I was out in Denver, was I said, well, just give me a whiteboard. Like, I'm not a presentation guy, in case you haven't noticed. But I said, just give me a whiteboard and a marker. And I came downstairs and I said, why don't we, I'm just going to write one word on the board. And I wrote this word. And the word was reaction. So I want you all to write that word on a piece of paper now. And I want you to think about it. And I want you to really feel that word. And the question is, how intimate do you know this word in your day-to-day, your week-to-week, your month-to-month? And how does this really show up in those areas of your life that are preventing you from getting to the important things that are really going to have impact and grow your life? We're also going to get to a way of kind of distilling this and seeing exactly how to really break it down to find out where you're spending in 4 different areas of your life. Some people say 90 or more percent of their day is spent in this mode. And usually there's some preemptive questions that have been emailed out to the folks in advance, like, what's keeping you up at night? What are the 3 things that you'd like to change in your business? And what I do know from experience is that none of these things are solved when you're in reaction. That the things that can only be solved, the problems that and challenges that you're experiencing now, can only be solved by getting into creation. And the play on letters and words here is taking out, obviously, the C out of reaction and putting it at the beginning. And as, tongue-in-cheek as that is, it's very much, when people ask me, what would you say is the decided difference from the clients who are finding success and fulfillment in their lives specifically, and I say it's spending more and more time in creation and staying out of reaction. The next thing is, we had so much fun last time polling. I'd like to kind of take a percentage and find out exactly what you believe currently you're spending your time in reaction mode. And what I want everybody to do is to go vote by texting this number, and then just give a guesstimate. And I want you to really think about it. Think about what percent of your time in your day, your week, your month, is spent in reaction, reacting to the whims of others, fires and emergencies, et cetera, et cetera. As a business owner myself, I've always found that it brings me an awful lot of stress to be in this place. And if you know anything about neuroscience in the brain, it's really firing off those fight or flight chemicals. And we do not think creatively when we're firing off those chemicals. So if you would, is it between 1 and 25% of your day is spent in reaction? Is it more? 50%, 75%. I had one gentleman in Denver shout out 105%. So I know it's a bit of a rhetorical question, but if you're really honest with yourself, and only you will know, we see where we're at. And it seems like, once again, the survey says that at least 50% of you are spending between 50 and 75% of your time in reaction mode. And if we were to define what that is, we'd also have to define what it isn't, and what area of your life you'd rather focus more of your attention on. So a lot of people don't know this. They know my background from the music business a bit. And I've been very fortunate to, end up in the C-suite of any industry I've ever wanted to go in. And the music business was an example of that. And in the coaching world, I ended up working for some of maybe the top peak performance strategist on the planet, and that is Tony Robbins. Having the opportunity to work with him, I look at it kind of like Bruce Lee. Like, I am going to bring to you the information that you need to succeed and live a life of fulfillment, growing and scaling your business, regardless of where it comes from. And I have seen this of all the time management tools that has worked the best. And what I'd like to do now is kind of walk you through the time targets. And essentially the time targets, as you can see, are, if you're looking at it on the outside of the rim there, I like this: not important and not urgent. The dimension of distraction. I mean, we go here to escape. Usually the quote that I hear most often is to get away. The question is, from what? It's emotion. What emotion are you living in that moment that puts you in a state of mind where you feel that you must get away? It's TV, it's eating when you're not hungry, it's maybe self-medicating, alcohol perhaps. We know where you'd be if you spent most of your time here. It's kind of known as no man's land, and we can predict what your problems are if you're spending most of your time there. Now, we all do it. The question really is, what percentage of time are you spending in this dimension of distraction? Next on the bracket, as you can go in, moving closer towards the circle, urgent but not important. The dimension of delusion. This is where we're really deluding ourselves, or in the idea that what we're doing actually matters and has impact in our business. This is where the to-do lists live. It's not because to-do lists don't work, but very rarely we're not prioritizing them at the level that we could or should be to really drive and move the needle forward in our lives and in our businesses. I mean, have you ever gotten to the bottom of your to-do list? And if you have, great. But what have you found on the other side? And did you also feel a little bit frustrated that you actually didn't get everything that you set out to do done? Or those areas that you really know you should be or could have been doing along the line, but somehow you got caught up? The next one is the third ring, moving closer to the center. The urgent and important, the dimension of demand. I love the dimension of demand because it's the one I hear about the most from clients. Well, you don't understand, who else is going to do it? If I don't do it, it's not going to get done. I have to jump on those calls with those escalations. I have to get in the middle of employee differences. I'm the one that has to be there making sure that this stuff gets done. I mean, I get it. We are always going to get a curveball in life, both personally and professionally. And challenges, as you know, they don't really let you know they're coming. Fires need firefighters. And besides, who else, as I said before, is going to put them out? So usually in this if you're living in this dimension, it's usually um, a more proactive approach, spending time anticipating and doing those things that are more in the important and not urgent area can lessen the amount of time and emotion you spend in this dimension. So where is your focus throughout your day? And now, of course, the fourth and the zone, as they call it, you know, a number of years ago, I don't know if anybody else remembers, but there was a diet. It was called the zone diet. And I remember it being very easy to understand and very difficult to follow. But I can tell you that Dr. Barry Spears actually in one sentence changed everything that I did in growing my business and in my life. And that was, he said, you're only one meal away from being back in the zone. I use it in my leadership talks. You're only one thought, action, emotion, or behavior from being back in the zone, the leadership zone. It's not that you're going to step out of this zone. It's not if, as we know, it's when. The question is the people, or I should say the answer is, the people who get back into the zone the fastest are the ones who are succeeding the most and living a life of fulfillment. And getting back into that zone is the goal. Now, what is the zone? I mean, if you want to create the life or business by design, then it's going to be about focusing on these areas of your life that are going to bring you the most success and fulfillment in your life. And I don't know what that is for you, and it can be different for other people, but what categories are they that you would have to continually focus on in your life to produce the life that you've imagined, the business that you want, the scalability of your company, the people that you surround yourself with? Is it more time with your family? Is it reading? Leaders are readers. The stats are in. We know that the folks who are growing big businesses, billionaires, are reading upwards of 3 to 5 hours a day. And they're running giant companies. So their excuse is not, I don't have the time. If anyone didn't have the time, you would think it would be somebody that's running an organization with 75,000 or more people. But yet these are the folks who are telling us to take time to look at our work from a distance. They're also the ones who are telling us that they're learning the most from others, that they're learning, and if they can only take, Mark Cuban says, one idea from a business or from a book that he reads throughout that 3-hour period every day that he reads, then it was justifiable. So is it thinking? Is it exercise? Or are these things you never get to do because you're so busy? I like this saying by Stephen Covey that my team pulled up because I never saw it before. I mean, Stephen Covey had the Four Quadrants, and I remember going through that book and thinking, wow, this is great. And I went to all the time management seminars, and I really wanted to get this down as I was growing my business. And I remember one seminar saying, well, we need you to track your time of what you do every minute of every day for like 30 days. And I'm like, if I could do that, I wouldn't need this course. I wouldn't need time management. So what was it exactly? And this is a great quote. The key is not to prioritize your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. And this is the difference that makes the difference. And tell me if all of us on the call don't already know this. But why is it that we're on this call and talking about time? And time, as we know, was the very thing, or at least the first thing, that agreeably we all saw as being the detriment to helping us grow and scale our businesses. Time, money, people, from the worst number in business. So the question really is, what do you do to prioritize, or more importantly, prioritize those things in your life so that you can make sure that you get to where you want to be? I've had the opportunity to follow executives and leaders of industry around over the course of a day or two. And I really, they think I'm watching them. So they go out and they shake hands and kiss babies, and they think that's what I'm watching for. No, I'm watching for these modes of where they put themselves throughout the day. What are the demands like? How do they react to them? Are they proactive? Are they anticipating these things? Are they readily available? Is their day filled with got-a-minute meetings? I mean, virtual hands. How many of you work in the office and always see the idea of got-a-minute meetings kind of switching your focus and getting you off track to doing the things that really matter? You know, recently I was talking to one of the partners in this community, and they asked me, they say, Coach, what is it? What is the mindset shift that matters the most? And when do you start seeing it happen? And this happens all the time. And the best news is that they don't even know what to do with it. They find themselves in a situation where they actually have more time. And it thrills me to death, because when I hear them saying, you know, I go into the office, I'm not really sure and how I need to spend my time right now. I always say, congratulations, that's great news. And we start walking through their day and what it really means to be CEOing. What does it really mean to be growing your organization? And where do you see yourself? What are those high impact areas of focus that you would need to consistently do daily in order to grow your business? And when I start hearing that verbiage, like, geez, I don't even know what to do with my time, I say, well, what kind of things come up? What aren't you doing that you know that if you did would give you more richness, meaning, and purpose in your life, more fulfillment, and even on the surface, more success in your business? It will ultimately make you more money. What are those things? And, you know, coincidentally, they seemingly fall, as we know, in the zone, the dimension of fulfillment. And what are those things for you is one of the homework questions that we have for you. What are those impact areas in your life that you would need to consistently focus on? And don't get emotional about it and start coming up with reasons why you can't. You know, this is the strategy side of things. This is systematizing your business. This is maximizing the human capital. This is training and creating a real sales and marketing plan. Maybe it's diet and exercise. Maybe it is reading and thinking. Where do you go to be in the zone? What are those areas? And then lastly, that would be kind of the one thing. What are those impact areas that you would continually focus on? Last week, it was about vision. This time, we're talking about what you would need to focus on to keep yourself in the zone where you'd be the most productive. Now, last but not least, another little exercise to get real with would be, what is the time that you're spending in these dimensions? And number one, the question is, you know, how much time are you spending on that outer ring, honestly? And this, during the course of this week, even this day, just write down how many hours specifically are you spending in this mode. You know, what did you do to escape? When you're stressed, what do you do or use to distract yourself? And for how many hours? TV, is it, you know, what are those areas of distraction? Number two, of course, the dimension of delusion, the urgent but not important. You know, these are the things that when you get that to-do list done, or should I say, this is straightening up your desk stuff. This is cleaning out your closet. These are the things that really are not having the impact in your business, but they are showing up as if they're super important to you in the moment. They're the monkeys that other people put on your back. You know, as we move along, of course, the dimension of demand is that that firefighting area, that demand that urges you to take action now, and are really important. That maybe it's a family emergency. Maybe your child needs to come home from school sick and you need to go get him or her. Maybe it's a flat tire. Maybe it's all the things that are preventing you from sticking to that to-do list, which, by the way, to-do lists as Chet Holmes said, is the death of time management because of the prioritization issues that people have with making them, and clearly the amount of things that are on their list. And I know if you start your day by looking at your to-do list, or worse, your email, I know everyone on this call probably does exactly that. I know the feeling, but you're not paying yourself first to making sure that the day that you plan, the week, the month, the year, that you're really focusing on these areas that are going to help you grow your business. So of course, how many hours are you spending in demand, in that urgent and important realm in your life? Where are you putting that firefighter hat on? And again, you can do it now, or throughout today, or during the week, because obviously our goal here is to get to the zone. And I know you can't be there 100% of the time, but at the end of the day, it's where we are going to have the most impact personally and professionally in our lives. And that is the area that we're going to be able to grow our business. I've never worked in an organization. I've never come into a team of people who really said that they were in the zone, more than 50% of the time. And the folks that I work with, as they shift and they start seeing what it really means to be in the zone, and they watch their companies grow. Now, believe me, I hear all the reasons why they can't do it or they won't do it. But as they start making the shift, these gradual shifts in their day, and that's why tracking the hours a little bit, honestly, with yourself over the course of a day or only a week, will give you kind of a window into what it is that you want to switch or change. And that is the focus. What time and what amount of time would have the most impact in your business if you were even 10% more on the zone? So I want to thank everybody for being on the call. I want to keep these short and sweet, but the one thing is time. And if that was the first distraction or challenge in our life to scaling, growing, and scaling your business, then at least we're getting under the hood to see where we're spending the time. But more importantly, as I always say, defining what it is that you want to be spending your time doing in your life and in your business. So I really welcome some feedback from today. Join us in exactly 30 days from now. It is the second Friday of January. That is Friday the 10th. And our focus will be monthly recurring revenue money choices. These are the decisions that you make out of impulse to grow the lifestyle that you think you want, that also become a prison. So thanks for joining us. Once again, I welcome the feedback, and go out there and make it happen. Thank you.